Good morning and welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mock. I'm sorry, I'm making you laugh this morning.
You're making faces while I'm trying to talk, which is a good segue to let everybody know that this is a radio program on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. And you may think, well, Sean, we're on radio. We're listening on radio. We can't see the faces that Ashley's making to make you laugh during the radio program. Well, in fact, you can, because we broadcast the video of this program, or we take the video of this program, we link it to our Facebook page. But if you ever wonder what these faces of radio look like, with the word of caution, you can go to YouTube, look up Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. We started to get better at posting those shows on there on a regular basis, and all 5 viewers have seen what we look like.
Hey, we had like 12 to 14 last week.
All right. And then I will also let everybody know, if you're like Sean and Ashley, we really like this radio program, but sometimes we miss part of it because we're in church or we're running late for church, and I'm too busy screaming at the kids to get them in the car to really get all the details of the show. The radio show is also a podcast. So if you have an Apple iPhone, I'm sorry, just look up podcast on that. If you have an Android, there's Spotify, Google Cast, all that stuff. Just look up Community Connections Children's Services Council. You can listen to old episodes and subscribe, and then once a week they will automatically be delivered to your phone, so you can always stay on top of everything that's going on.
So fancy.
I know a little bit about podcasts. So, all right. So let's jump into why we do this show. We do this show because we want to connect you, the listeners and or viewers, to resources and things that are available in our great community we call St. Lucie County. Now, why did they give you a radio program? One, because the Lees are awesome and they apparently like us, but also because at the Children's Services Council, we do 5 things for our community. And this is what we work on every single day. And those 5 things are making sure every baby is a healthy baby, stopping child abuse before it happens, keeping kids off the streets, keeping them in school, and keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors by offering programs and creating resources for all families in our community with those 5 priorities.
So in addition to the show, where you can learn more about some of those programs, you can also visit us online on our website at cscslc.org. We have a list of all of our funded program partners there, along with their contact information. So if there is something that you are looking for yourself, or for a friend, or for a family member, all the information is there, a brief description along with their contact information that you can get. We also have, we have printed family guides. See that? I don't normally have the props. Printed family guides that we can distribute to you as well. Actually, as we're doing this, I just saw an email come in from someone asking for family guides. So imagine that.
But a listener of the radio program.
Right? We can deliver those to you, to your place of business, you have that information available to share as resources with your friends, family, coworkers, congregation members, whatever. There's actually a very simple form on our website that you can fill out if you are looking for those. And somebody from our office, me, Sean, John, our community engagement coordinator, will come bring them to you.
And if you want to take it up a notch, you invite us to come talk. You wind us up, we will talk, and you will have to cut us off, but we can talk about the state of the child, if you will, in St. Lucie County, and even go into a little bit more detail on some of those programs if you so choose.
That is correct.
So I when you said props, I was like, oh, I can't be out propped by Ashley. So I want to remind everybody, at last week's show, we kind of showed you where you can find it on the website. We kind of flipped through a couple pages, but ta-da, our annual impact report, 2022 impact report is available. And you may say, well, why do we care about that, Sean? Because what we do is, in a very much a coloring book version, meaning you can read it in 5 minutes or less, we high level summarize the impact that Children's Services Council, along with its funded partners, had in the community this previous year.
Yeah, and I will just say, we understand that a lot of times annual reports are very text heavy, businessy. We try to keep ours not like that because we want you to be able to digest the information in it. And really the important things that are noted in there are the things that we would come talk to you about too. So, the really big pieces are the number of children served, which we're always paying attention to. And then ensuring that all of our programs meet their outcomes and spend their money appropriately. And that's really the information that we communicate in the annual report. But It is available on the website. It's actually in a really kind of fun click through. You can just flip through the pages right on the website. So take a look at it. And if there are questions or if you have concerns about anything that you see in there, reach out to us because we're happy to have conversations with you guys about it.
So the other thing that we want to mention before we get to our guests, I have two things. One you're not aware of, and the other one you are. Not you, the listeners, actually. So one is we are getting ready. I believe in a couple of weeks, our board, or a week and a half, our board will be voting on the final recommendations for our summer funding. And what that means to you, the listeners, is, all of our after school programs, the 17 locations that we fund in St. Lucie County, all turn into summer camps because they're year-round contracts. And then we usually expand to an additional 10 to 12 new sites. And why that's important is because part of the requisite is, one, that they have a learning environment. The kids don't need to know that, but you as parents need to know that, grandparents, because every one of our summer programs obviously has a learning component to help mitigate summer learning loss. And that's in particularly very important because we're, closing on the heels of closing, not the pandemic, the endemic. I just heard that recently. I was like, I like that. That's kind of clever. But also, we also stress the cost. Most of the camps are greatly reduced, if not free. A traditional summer camp may cost $100 to $120 a week. That won't fly if you're going to get funding from the Children's Services Council to help bring that down to 20, 25, maybe even free. But all of our programs work with families on that financial barrier so that we can get more kids off the streets, if you will, one of our priorities, but more importantly, in a learning positive environment.
We will, just so that everyone's aware too, I mean, we obviously are continuing to talk about it on the radio show, but once those approvals are made by our board, we will have a page on our website that lists all of the summer program opportunities. We'll share it on Facebook. You'll be able to find it in lots of places, I promise, just so that I know some parents are already making those plans. So as soon as that information is approved by our board, we'll make sure that it's available to all of you as well.
And obviously check out our Facebook page because we'll post all that listing on there, all that stuff first, as well as our website, again, cscslc.org. The only thing I was going to add, Ashley, before we get to our guests, and this is a little personal, however, we had New Year's resolutions, right? And I think I'm only bringing this up because I've got a couple people that I know through coaching that are like following they're like, how's it going with your health thing? So I was gonna proudly say that one of my major obstacles, or one of the major things I wanted to get done this year, and I'm only gonna say it just because I think we don't talk about it enough, particularly as men, and it's something we got to do, is you got to get a colonoscopy when you turn 45, or when I turned 50, it was 50. Now they moved it to 45, which just isn't fair. I had put it off a couple of years, I'm not going to lie, because of COVID, but also I wasn't really looking forward to it. Well, I did it, sucked it up, got it done. And, it is one of the reason why it's important to get it done is because if you do have any type of cancer or whatever, it's one of the more treatable ones, but only if they catch it early. So I say all that to say that if you are 45 and older, it's now 45, and I don't work for a doctor's office, but if you're 45 or older, it's time to schedule it, because, something that's preventable, you don't want to, I know some people, both in my own family and also some friends' families whose parents had colonoscopy, or I'm sorry, had cancer, and had they been screened, it could have been treated and they'd still be with us. So that's just another another message to make sure that you're prioritizing yourself, and particularly your health.
This is just a full service show.
Well, and I think it's important, I think men are like the last people to go to the doctor, right?
Yeah, no,
I myself am I was the last one to go. I kept putting it off. I kept excuse after excuse. And I finally like, you know what? If I'm not around, and if I get something and it's because I didn't screen early,
that was preventable,
I will be really upset.
Yeah. So while you're bringing our guest in, because I know you're getting ready to do that, I do just want to give a huge shout out to John Caesar, our community engagement coordinator, and Kevin Singletary from Kids at Hope through the roundtable. I know Sean was able to participate last week in the More Than a Game that they have recently kicked back off. They're having an amazing time. I'm so impressed with the guys that John has been able to recruit, and the guys who are coming, who are bringing more guys with them every week. But they're just doing an awesome job. And if you don't know, you haven't heard about it, then check it out on our website. Just look up More Than a Game. It's going to be, I think, something really big for the dads and the men in our community.
I'll be honest, I had only planned on staying like a half hour. I was there the whole time. I mean, I think I got there at 5:30 and I left at 8:30 because Tykes and Teens came and spoke, phenomenal. Kevin Singletary, phenomenal. And then, I'm a basketball junkie, so I was totally watching the game. John was playing. It was a great time.
The comment that John made to me about this past week, Aaron Montgomery from Tykes and Teens was the speaker for the week, but he said when he was done speaking, he went out to his car like he was going to leave, and then he came back in and he was like, I have to sign up, I can't go, like I have to stay for
yeah he wanted to sign the waiver so he could play.
So. I thought that was awesome. All right, so we do have two really great guests with us today, and we're going to talk about something that's really exciting, I think, for us and for them. I guess, Randee, I'll let you kind of tee it up, if you will, but we've got Randee Gabriel with us from 211, which I feel like I have to say 211 Palm Beach Treasure Coast with emphasis on the Treasure Coast part, right?
I think we should work on 211 Palm Beach, St. Lucie, and everybody else. I think, and then the following year it'll be 211 St. Lucie, Palm Beach, and everyone else, and then it'll just be 211 St. Lucie and everybody else. I got a plan for this.
I like it. I like where your head's at. Anyway, all of that aside, Randee, thanks for joining us today. Do you want to I feel like everybody knows 211. Sean and I talk about it quite a bit on this show, so all of our longtime listeners should be familiar, but give us kind of a overview of all the things that 211 covers and what you guys are able to do here for us on the Treasure Coast.
Okay, I'm happy to, and thank you so much for the invitation today. 211 is St. Lucie County's Community Helpline and Crisis Hotline. Sometimes life can be overwhelming, and at 211 we're here to listen and help. I'm very happy to say that we celebrated last year 50 years. So we have been around for more than 50 years helping people in our communities. In times of crisis, we can provide crisis support, resources, and services, or sometimes someone just to talk to that's non-judgmental. And so sometimes it's easier to talk to someone here than a family member or a friend and remain anonymous. We offer many services, but our telephone lines at 211 are answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I always like to say we're probably one of the last places you can call and get an actual human being at any time of the day or night. So because as the world's changing, that isn't so common anymore. We provide information, assessment, and referral, crisis support and counseling. We are the suicide prevention line. So when you're watching TV or you see a billboard about suicide prevention and it gives you the 1-800 number, when you dial that number, you get us. We are the suicide line for St. Lucie and all the other counties. So St. Lucie, Martin, Indian River, Okeechobee, and Palm Beach County.
You've trained her well, Sean.
It's sinking in. I like it.
And who says I can't teach it? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And besides our crisis intervention line and our information referral services, we have several advocacy programs that are internal that we have developed over the years just from answering calls, looking at the need in the community for more support than, a phone call. They may need some follow-up. And so, I will talk about our community programs in just a minute, but I also want to let you know that we have a database online, and we do text, chat, and email. So, I always say that, the times are changing and people don't use the telephone anymore. So we had to change with the times. So now you can text us, you can chat with us, you can email us. We've got a lot of different options for people. They can reach us. It's really easy. Just dial 211.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. It's easy to remember. It's not a long 1-800 number or anything like that. It's just dialing 211. So what I want to do though today is talk about our programs, because that's why we're here. We have, I believe it's 4 programs in St. Lucie and the Treasure Coast. And we, our advocacy programs, we have a Sunshine Daily Call. So if our listeners out there have a grandmother, a neighbor, someone that's alone, that doesn't have anyone in the community, we make over 600 calls a day, or close to 600 calls a day to residents that are alone and need that well-being check or just that single hello. For some people, it's the only phone call they get. And, what we started years ago as a feel-good program has turned into a life-saving program because it is a well-being check. And if our clients don't answer, we have a protocol in place on how to reach them and make sure they're safe. We have a veteran.
Wait, Randee, before you jump off to your other 3 programs, have I ever told you about my great idea for your come on, Ashley, it's a good idea. Have I ever told you about my idea for the Sunshine program?
No, you haven't.
It's
okay.
Sean's favorite program.
Kristina, I know we can't see you, but I need you to weigh in on this idea as well.
Okay.
So you make phone calls to seniors, which is great because we all know that particularly, and I can experience this with my own mom, when my dad and her husband passed away, she was kind of isolated where she was working. So you want, the importance of that contact, right? To check the well-being check, if you will, and just having that connection. But what if, just bear with me, Ashley, what if you had voice impersonators make those calls? So
and
I could get a call.
Be impersonating?
Samuel Jackson, obviously.
Samuel Jackson, Robert De Niro, anybody you could have voice impersonators call. How cool would that be? I originally thought of Chewbacca, but then I realized that wouldn't make sense because nobody would be able to understand it. But how genius would that be?
That's genius. Absolutely genius. But now how do we get this? I mean,
you obviously you have excellent staff, so you just train them on voice impersonations.
Obviously, they're multi-talented.
I'm telling you, you guys all think I'm joking,
Sean
but
would sign up. No,
I am dead serious. I think that this is, something to explore. Anyway,
well, you know what? I will mention it to our CEO and see what she thinks.
I'm going to be very disappointed if she hasn't already heard it, because every time somebody from 211, I speak with 211, I always tell them this idea.
That's true. So jokes aside, Randee.
Why is it got to be a joke? It's a good idea.
I know Sean's not joking, but for all the programs, including the Sunshine Call that you guys have, if someone is interested, all they have to do is call 211 and say,
absolutely,
I'm interested in the Sunshine program.
Yes, I want to speak with Richard De Niro.
Please do that.
You can pick, yeah. Who would you like to call? No.
Who's Richard De Niro? It's Robert De Niro. Come on.
Robert. Okay. See, I'm so.
All right.
You got me so upset with all this stuff, and now I'm, but who's going to call them? How are we going to do this?
So that I apologize. I kind of hijacked that one. Obviously you call 211 and you can text 898-211, put in the body of the text, your zip code to make sure you get connected to the right specialist. But what are the other 3 programs? Because we got to have Kristina talk at some point here.
I know. And I'm going to save the best for last. Okay.
Okay. Fair.
Thank you.
So the My Florida Vet Peer Support Program is we work with veterans in the community, connecting them to VA services and community resources. And not just veterans, their families. If you're a spouse of a veteran and you're having issues, you can call 211 and ask to speak to a veteran support specialist and get a referral to speak to someone in that program. It's a statewide initiative. So it's in most of the state, not all of the state right now. Our next program that I'm going to talk about is Help Me Grow. And this is a statewide initiative also that is a part of a national program that is designed to identify children at risk for developmental, behavioral, and social emotional challenges. The program is designed to support questions and concerns of families while providing access to resources and supports. And we provide developmental screenings to the families. And if there are concerns for their child, we offer them a free referral to go one step further and get a full evaluation and possibly services for children 0 to 5. And that program is in St. Lucie and the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach. One of our newer programs is our caregiver. What?
It's working.
It
You
is.
just said 2-on-1, St. Lucie, Treasure Coast, and Palm Beach. I'm like, it's working.
Is our caregiver project. So for anyone that's ever been a caregiver, you know how different it is and how much it can affect your family life, not just you, but your spouse or your children in the house. They need support and resources. And, we provide linkages to community services and advocacy for them with follow-up. I think that's all. Oh, wait a minute. It's a special needs program. I almost forgot that one.
I was
You
going
were
to say,
saving it for the end.
That's right. So I'm so excited. We've had this program in Palm Beach County for 9 years now, and it's a special needs helpline for families of children 0 to 22 that have a child with a disability. And I've always dreamed of expanding it, and CSC St. Lucie County has offered us the opportunity to bring it into St. Lucie County, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I know how much families struggle, and the maze of services and working your way through those services is daunting. It's a whole, I always compare it to a foreign language because they start using all these acronyms and all this new language that you've never heard before, never expected to hear as a parent. And we're just there to help the parent, find resources, give them a listening ear, help them navigate services that are available for their child that they may not know of. And our newest addition is Kristina, who is our advocate, our special needs advocate in St. Lucie County. And so I'd like to introduce her, and she can tell you a little bit about what she does and herself. Christine.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kristina. I'm going to kind of just dive right into it because of course I wasn't expecting to kind of have to talk. Thank goodness the camera's not working.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
ask
a
you,
cop
Christine,
out.
are you in the witness relocation program? I mean, why can't?
You weren't supposed to know that.
I know, I'll do better. So thank you, Randee. So yeah, as Randee said, my name is Kristina, and I'm really excited to be up in the Port St. Lucie, Treasure Coast area, working as the new special needs advocate. Woo, long-winded. A little bit about myself. I have a 22-year-old who's diagnosed special needs about 20 years ago, maybe 18 to 19 years ago. And Randee equated it to that confusion. It's very, you just don't really know how to navigate the system. When my son was first diagnosed, I called it the parking lot diagnosis. Because you're given this diagnosis and you just were like, okay, have a great day, bye. And you walk out into the parking lot and you're looking and you're confused. You're confused. Not only are you confused about the diagnosis, but now you're confused about the responsibilities that come with this diagnosis, and how do you start? Where do you start? Who do you go to? So my goal in St. Lucie County is to be that active listener. When a mom, it doesn't matter if they've just been recently diagnosed or they've been at this, a seasoned mom, when we hit a crisis and we hit a stumbling block, we need an active listener. We need someone who's just willing to hear us, to hear them, and to start pulling apart the areas that we need help in, they need help in. And rather than just giving it to them all in a bag and say, okay, good luck, here we are in this fantastic special needs program where they can contact us step by step. So if we're going to start working on one task at a time, we can. And they can just contact us directly moving forward. We kind of just become that constant support for them until they say, hey, guess what? I don't need you. And you're like, okay. And that's a wonderful moment because they feel that they have their feet down. So that's a little bit about what I hope I can do up here in St. Lucie County. Yeah, so that's me.
That's awesome. I know for a long time, and Sean and I have had this conversation, I think on this show before, you know, we get a lot of phone calls from parents who have just received a diagnosis, or maybe they have relocated here and they know that their child has a diagnosis, but they relocate to our community and they don't know where to start to receive services here. And so this is such a huge step forward, I think, for families with children with special needs. And every time in the last, it hasn't been around for very long. I think we just approved it a month ago. So I feel like every time I mention it to someone, they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so it gets me more excited about it too. So I'm just really happy that we're able to offer this to families now in our community as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I know when I've called and I've introduced myself, because I'm like, okay, you know, how do we let people know we're here other than just call? So, you know, I pulled up the list of all the local daycare centers, everybody, and I'm just calling, introducing myself. And they're like, oh, wow, you're here? I'm like, yes, we're here. So I'm really excited and I'm very thankful to be a part of this.
You know, you gave that example of the parking lot, I think you said parking lot diagnosis or parking lot something. And, and that is so true. Like, that's a perfect way to encompass it. I've shared this story on this radio program before. My son got diagnosed when he was, I think it was not just shy of 2 years. And I remember we're like, you know, you kind of like in a little bit of shock, but to your point, the doctor moves on, right? He's got other appointments and you're like going, I was about ready to say a bad word, but you're just like, what now? What? Like, what do you do now? Like, because it kind of changes what, you know, most parents have this plan and what's going to happen. And then you're like, okay, now what? Like, who's here for me? What, you know, there's like a whole new world that a lot of parents haven't even thought about. So I love that description. And it's so good to know that I can tell from the conversation that you're very passionate about it. You're very excited about it. And the attitude of helping families and staying with them as often as they need you is exactly what this, you know, what families need. It's exciting.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And that's the biggest thing is like, I foresee us being that before they go out that door to that parking lot, 211 special needs is that call. You know, that's like my idea. My goal is to have the doctor say, hey, I know this is going on. Give them a call.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's amazing. So
with all the
Kristina,
pediatricians.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that, you know, all of the programs that we've talked about can be accessed by simply dialing 211. And so when they do that, they just have to say, I'm interested in the Sunshine Program. I'm interested in the Florida Vet Support. I'm interested in the special needs. So whatever it is can be accessed by simply dialing 211. And really, it doesn't get much easier than that. So.
It doesn't. No, it really doesn't. And that's a great thing because, you know, people give me a business card and, you know, you throw it in your purse and you lose it for 6 months. And then all of a sudden you pull it out and you're trying to remember who is this for? What was this for? You know, and this way it's just very easily, you know, you just pick up the phone and dial 211. And we always like to say if it's not 911, if your matter in your crisis or you know, what you need information or referrals for cannot be filled by 911. It's 211.
Right.
And
I want to reemphasize what you said, Randee, because we experience this. A lot of people don't really like to talk on the phone anymore. And I get that to a degree, right? Especially when you're asking for help, there's like a little layer of privacy, but you can text 898-211 and then put in the body of the text your zip code. So make sure you get connected with the right 211, which is St. Lucie Treasure Coast
Only.
and Palm Beach. But make sure you do that. And then, like you said, Ashley, you know, if you want to talk with Kristina, just type in, I need some help with special needs, and they'll connect you with Kristina.
Mhm. Yeah, and I want everyone to remember, it's not just that first diagnosis. When you have a child with a disability, it's a lifetime of changes. And every step of the way, every age, every, you know, elementary to middle school and you know, into your teen years and high school, there's these transitions, and they're all different than what we expected to be doing in our life. And we're there to assist families in making a smooth transition to the next part of their child's or their young adults, teenagers journey, and make sure that they're getting everything that they need, and to be the best possible person they can be.
Well stated. Well
That's
stated.
awesome.
All right. We have come to the end of our time, unfortunately. I just noticed, if you want to check out the video program, make sure you check out our Facebook page or go to YouTube. I just noticed that Randee's background is her business card. It took me 30 minutes, but I eventually recognized that. And if you want to see what Kristina looks like, it's not this show because she's in the witness protection program, but call 211 or text and get connected with Kristina. Or quite honestly, if you just need somebody to talk to, call 211, particularly in times of emergency or crisis. They're phenomenal over there. And we thank you both for coming on. You can check out, it's a weekly radio program every Sunday on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. Because we can't stop there, it's also a video program on our YouTube page, which we post on our Facebook page. And because 2 isn't enough, we are also a podcast, so that you can always stay on top. Just go to your favorite podcast subscription, look up Community Connections, St. Lucie County Children's Services Council, and you can subscribe and listen and always stay connected. Thanks again, guys. We greatly appreciate it. And a simple reminder that it's our children, our community, our future. Now more than ever, folks, we're all in this together. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In a world where seconds could be the difference between life and death, I realize I was born for this. I am prepared. I am present. I am Dad, the Water Watcher.